All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Mick's Got No Nuts, the Nut Allergy Podcast, the show where we explore real stories from people living with peanut and tree nut allergies. And just a quick reminder, this podcast is all about sharing what life is like for people who live with nut allergies or who live around them. So if you ever want to be a guest and share your story, feel free to reach out to me, Mick's Got No Nuts, on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, where this will be posted. I'd love to hear from you and interview you and your story. Now, for today's episode, I'm joined by Holly. Welcome, Holly.
Hello.
Do you mind introducing yourself and letting us know where you're from?
Yeah, so my name's Holly Aman. I'm from Belleville, Ontario, Canada. And yeah, I run a fitness business and I have a peanut allergy, very severe, very deadly. And I'm also allergic to tree nuts, but like less severe, I think. We're not too sure.
Okay, so we'll explore that in a little bit. Now, I want to
Heck yeah.
learn more about your fitness side, your business side of things. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I went to school for like environmental sciences initially, and I like finished, got a degree and a diploma, started the workforce in like environmental consulting, really hated it, but found my love for fitness during that time. And I've always been very keen on being a business owner. I was like, I can't work for people for the rest of my life. I need to do something on my own. Turns out I have ADHD. So kind of checks out for me. And yeah, I quit my job on a whim one day and started my
Right.
online business. Did that for a while, started training people in person, and then like it's kind of grown. And now I own a gym in Belleville with my co-owner, and
Hmm.
it's all focused around building confidence in people, helping people understand like what to do in the gym and truly feel like they have a space to do that stuff rather than like
Hmm.
we the gyms that are like everyone and anyone, but it's just like you never feel quite comfortable. So we're LGBTQ plus friendly, and we just really strive to make everyone feel very included. Um,
Yeah,
we have a dog. We have a dog there, Mocha. So
we
that's
love
always a bonus.
that. That's reason enough to go to the gym, right?
Yeah, yeah. Seriously.
How how long have you had the gym?
Literally since October, so it hasn't been that
Oh,
long, but I was actually working at this specific place for 4 years um, before I took it over. So the old owner was like, kind of like, I think I'm done. And then it just kind of like fell into my hands because I was running the business anyway. I was kind of like
hmm.
offsetting how much I would pay him to train my clients as an independent contractor. So I was like
Hmm.
offsetting that with like, running the business. And I was like, I think I'm running this too well and I'm not seeing a lot from it. So, but then anyway, it all kind of fell together and, it's been so much fun. Ironically, a struggle I've had is nuts in the facility.
Oh, okay. Good
And that's why
transition.
I was actually really excited to get on here because I was like, oh my gosh, like I run into this all the time. And it's just like, it's such a pain.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that for sure, but my first question for everyone that I interview is, can you tell me the story of how you first discovered your nut allergy?
Okay. Yeah. So I wasn't quite cognizant for it, I don't think, but I was like two. And from what I've been told, is my mom was like, this girl, she's picky. I don't know what to give her. I'm gonna make her a little peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Handed it to me. She turned around, looked back, and she was like, oh, she's got some jam around her mouth. And then she turned around, turned back, and she's like, oh, she's got jam over her whole body. And then she was like, that's not jam. So she made a little phone call. They're like, get this girl to the hospital. And yeah, ever since then, I literally went like 20 years without a reaction and then like broke that in college and went to the hospital. So that was fun. But yeah,
Wait, so that when your mom gave you that peanut butter sandwich, was that the first time she'd ever give you a peanut butter sandwich?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. It was the first time right there. We found out very quickly that I am incredibly allergic to peanuts. Not smell, just eat. But
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned kind of tree nuts. What do you mean by that?
we're so unsure because getting tested up here is kind of a pain in the butt. Like every time I get tested, they're like, it seems fine, but like it's just a scratch test. So they're like, we can't tell you for sure. We would have to do a blood test, and then it's just like gets lost in the medical world of Ontario.
So
So I
you're
don't know.
saying
I mean, it's like
so
it's possible. It's possible. I don't know.
so you haven't been officially tested, but very, very likely
No.
might as well stay away.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's what they said. They did test me they did like a blood test for cashews, and they're like, you can eat cashews. And I was like, cool. And then like everything with cashews in it may contains
Oh,
other tree nuts and
yeah.
peanuts. So I was like, well, I don't think
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned you had a reaction in college, right?
Yeah, yeah. Right at the end of, well, university, I guess. Yeah. I ate something I was in a Mexican restaurant. There was like a mole sauce, and my
Yeah.
friend was like, you can really taste the peanut in here. And I was like, and we both paused, and she was
Excuse me.
like, oh, and then anyway, I was like, you need to stab me with the EpiPen because I've never used it. Like, I knew how to use it, but it was still that, like, I'm like, oh God. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're not friends anymore, and I feel kind of bad about that because I think that was a traumatizing experience for her. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And then actually more recently, I ended up in the hospital from eating like sesame oil that actually may contained nuts, and I didn't know.
Wow.
And yeah, that was actually really scary because I wasn't really expecting that, but I got like the armpit hives, and I was like, oh no. And then like, your stomach just turns upside down. You're like, oh shit. And then,
Oh,
sorry if I can't swear, my bad. But then my friend just like rushed me to the hospital, and I was like, that was fun. And I also
yeah.
waited to get my epinephrine there because if I go to the hospital, it's free.
There you go.
So I was like,
That
I'm
is
just gonna wait.
that is a difference between the States and Canada. The access to that sort of EpiPen medication is very different. Very different.
Yeah, I mean, like I have to pay for it if I want it. Like when I go to the pharmacy, I have to buy it, like out of pocket. But if I
Hmm.
just wait the 2-minute drive to get to the hospital, they'll just give it to me, and they're like, "Why didn't you take your EpiPen?" And I'm like, "Do I look like I'm loaded? Do I look like I have EpiPen money, guys? Come on, no,
Come,
give me the
come on.
good stuff.
Come on.
Just give me the epinephrine."
Give me the good stuff. Yeah, it's either my Rolex or an EpiPen. Like it's one or the other. Um, That's yeah. Okay. So you've had your fair share of reactions since finding out you've had your initial diagnosis, I should say. Now you
Yes.
mentioned earlier that in your gym you have a constant problem with peanuts and potentially tree nuts. Can you elaborate on that more?
Yes, it's like I don't want to put up a sign being like a peanut free facility because the reality of it is I'm very much in control of my allergy. I know like to wash my hands, and I'm the person who cleans the gym, so it's very much like I know where it may end up, so I clean all the time. It's actually like so there's just like a few people who will bring protein bars to the gym, and then I can smell it, and I get that in a little anxious like person inside of me who's just like, oh God, oh, someone's eating something you can't have. And I'm like walking around, and I'll just go up to people and be like, is that peanut butter? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so I'm like really allergic, but it's okay. Just
Mm,
like wash your hands. But like, it's not a peanut free zone. But if you could just make sure
yeah.
not to touch a bunch of stuff, I would love it. So like, I
Hmm.
feel like I could do something a little bit more to make that a bit more feasible for me and a few other people who go to the gym. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? If I go to Good Life, if I go to any other gym, it's the same thing. I'm like, just be mindful. I mean, I know what I need to watch out for. And I do have a snack fridge there, which I've only stocked with stuff that I won't die if I eat. There is
Hmm.
something with almonds in it, but I'm like, I know I'm not allergic enough to like panic about this. I'm like, just hopefully just itchy, hopefully. But
Yes.
yeah, like it's been a bit of a struggle with that, and then also just like finding protein bars that I can eat. It's not
So yeah.
possible.
Oh,
Yeah, I
shameless
know.
plug.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
That's why I'm so excited. I'm like, oh my god.
how have people reacted in your gym when you ask them to be very careful with peanuts and potentially tree nuts?
Everyone's so cool about it. I mean, I
Oh,
think
okay.
I'm in this place now where like, when I was younger, it was so like, well, I still get told I ruin things because we can't go certain places for food with like my friends. But I find most people are so understanding. They're just like, oh my God, I didn't know. And I'm like, that's obviously, I never told you, like, don't freak out about it. I'm not dying right now. We're good. But yeah, most people there, I mean, everyone at my gym is a very small community anyway. So I know everyone. We're all like first name basis. So it's like a very easy, honest conversation. I'm always just like awkward because I'm like, they have their headphones in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
Excuse me.
hey,
Yeah.
you're going to kill me. It's no big deal.
Yeah. Any tough challenges when asking people, or you really think it's been not, I don't want to say easy, but people always reciprocate the understanding?
Had a couple, like I have like one challenge, and it's funny because I think this person's probably gonna listen to this podcast and be like, oh shoot, but I've talked to them about it of just like I think people don't quite always understand the degree of which like the allergy is. And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I let it slide before, but like you're here a lot and I really, really, really don't want to touch something cross-contamination. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes it's just getting people on that same wavelength of understanding like how actually like scary it is for me, which
Mm-hmm.
also a little bit my fault because like maybe I shouldn't play it down so much, but I'm just like, oh, I don't want you to like freak out. Like I'm gonna wash my hands, but like it's that little bit of like that communication barrier of just being like, it is very serious. I'm not mad that you did it, but like please keep it in mind going forward because it's like I'm like cashews, if you have like tree nuts, that's one thing, but like peanuts, if I and like people don't understand like the whole like cross-contamination thing. That's what really gets me. It's like the whole like touching something and then I touch it. They're like, well, what are you doing? Just sticking your hands in your mouth? I'm like, I don't know, maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna go like lick the doorknob. I don't know what I'm doing today. Like, hopefully
You never
not.
know.
But if something
I would not
something
know.
goes wrong, like what? Maybe I will. So it's always. I think the cross contamination is like the hardest thing for people to wrap their head around. They're like, well, like I was at like a bridal shower recently, and they're like, well, there's nuts on there, so like just grab the stuff that's not near the nuts. I'm like, I'm not having anything. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
no food. Like,
Yeah.
no, thank you. Like it's just
Yeah.
that little extra piece I think really throws people because they're like, well, this is the obvious piece of peanut, and they're like not seeing like the microscopic pieces that are on the table.
Mm-hmm. You hear a lot of reactions that people have online and who I've talked to previously, most of which come from cross-contamination. And you just don't think about it. Now, some people have sensitivities more than others, right? Some people
Yeah.
can eat the may contain, and some people stay away like their life depended on it. And it sounds like you're more
Yeah.
of the latter. Like you will just stay away if anything says it may contain or something's even near something. You can't do it. Too much of a
Yeah.
risk.
Yeah. I don't like EpiPens enough. It's not enough fun. It's they hurt. I'm like, I don't want to use them. I'm like, please, I don't want to
Yeah,
do this
well, you had the
today.
one experience at the restaurant you said, right?
Yeah. And
That's
that thing hurts. Like it hurts and you're in a different realm of living for like 20 minutes. You're like, whoa. Like I feel like I could have gone to the gym and like hit some really heavy PRs, but like I was on the way to the hospital not to die. So, and it's like a bummer. You got to spend like 4 hours in the hospital minimum. And like they drugged me last time I went, they gave me a bunch of Benadryl and I was just like loopy for 3 days. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on here, guys. But yeah, like
I
I get it.
yeah. I personally, knock on wood, have never had to use the EpiPen. I always do. Well, I'm supposed to carry. Yeah, surprise. I have. Thankfully, I am not as sensitive to the may contain. I will eat may contain snacks personally.
Oh, hmm.
But I'll tell you, and this is a follow-up question I have. This is my kind of experience with nuts, peanuts and tree nuts for me too, or as well. And what I will do, if something has may contain, I will typically eat it. I typically don't have a problem with it. If I'm
Hmm.
going over to someone's house or if I'm eating at a restaurant where I don't know the contents of the meal, I will take, and many people in the nut allergy community are probably going to slap me, but I will eat like a little piece of it and I will wait like a minute and I will see if my throat gets scratchy or not. And if it gets scratchy, obviously I'm done. If I don't, I will keep eating it. Sounds like that
Mm.
is, I think I'll get slapped by many people in our community. I don't think you're the same either, correct?
Yeah, like the thing for me though is like that initial itch, like that's all it takes. It just takes like that little bit, and I have to go to the hospital, which
Mm,
freaking blows, man. Like my allergy is just too serious for me to even like do that. I wish I could. I like if you can get away with a bit of an itchy mouth and be fine,
yeah. Yes,
You're living the life,
I
because
am.
I wish like if it's may contain tree nuts, I'll eat it, because once again, like pretty sure I won't die. I'll just get really itchy. So like kind of you. But like peanuts, I just can't. It's like I can't even risk it.
Mhm.
But restaurants, on the other hand, I'm like, just tell them, I'm like, hey, I'm allergic to peanuts. They're like, oh, we'll make it somewhere else in the kitchen. I'm like, perfect. That's all I
Mhm.
need. Like, I went to, like, traveling is always very weird for me. Like, I
Mhm.
went to Japan last year and I was
Oh,
like, oh my God. So I actually got, like, there's like this website where you can get like specific translations of like, I have a peanut allergy. It's very severe. Please give this to the kitchen.
oh,
And like, I printed it out, and that was like my saving grace. But it's
oh.
still like the whole time I was there, I was just like, oh my God. I had 4 EpiPens with me. And they were like, they would just look at me and they're just like, and I'm like, are we sure? And they're like, yeah. They're like, I'm like, peanut? They're like, peanut. And I'm like,
No,
what? With
no.
like no peanut? Anyway, so I mean, I think, well, I mean, and the degree of like fear for my life, that would have been the scariest moment of like,
Yeah,
oh
for a
God.
country for sure. That would freak me out for sure. You just don't know.
Yeah.
When you and when you say peanuts, does that mean you're also allergic to peas or other legumes as well?
No, I'm all good for peas and, well, some legumes, but I've actually noticed like a few of them will make my stomach quite upset, and I think it is
Oh.
like I have like this thing where like I've developed allergies from being like exposed to things too much. So like with bees, I'm anaphylactic to bees all of a sudden, which I
Oh.
never used to be. But from being stung multiple times, it's like every reaction's worse. And now it's like I got to go to the hospital when I get stung by a bee. And so I've noticed with a couple different legumes, ones that my neighbors planted that were like, I know you don't get those at a grocery store, but I ate them and I was like, oh, that feels weird. And the next time I ate them, I was like, oh, my stomach's like not okay. And so I was like,
Mm.
maybe. So like, I definitely think there's some allergies that are percolating if I keep messing with them too much, which is so annoying. It's like, why can't I just have like the base allergies? Why do they have to get better or like more? Because like my doctor was like, you might actually grow out of your peanut allergy, and I'm like, oh, actually, I think I'm growing into many more allergies. Thank you very much. Like we're just making the list longer. Oh my God.
Yeah, actually, quite the opposite. But thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah.
Thanks for the
And I'm
advice.
like, oh.
So going back to your gym, what kind of protein snacks do you typically eat when you work out? Or what kind of snacks do you prefer?
So I like, honestly, for me, I can't like, there used to be a couple of like there was like the Built Bar was a peanut free, they had a peanut free facility, and then like a peanut facility. They took that away. That used to be my favorite go-to, and they weren't even that good, if I'm being honest. But like typically I just stick with like regular whole foods, and then I have a protein powder that I like. There's like two different protein powders. There's one that's like a whey-based protein powder, and it's like nut free. They have a peanut butter one, and it's like peanut free, which I think is crazy. I still haven't tried it because I'm like, I just don't know if I can get by that. I think that's just gonna freak me
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's really good, peanut free, gluten free, all that good stuff. And then I actually use Good Protein, which is a vegan protein. I don't
Okay.
know if you guys have that stuff down there.
Maybe. I'm not totally sure
Canadian.
if I recognize it. I don't recognize it
Mm.
personally.
I think it's a Canadian brand, so that would make sense. But they're like a vegan protein powder, and they have a very big online presence.
Mm.
And they actually have a peanut butter flavor that has peanuts in it. And I got so mad for a while that I was like emailing all these companies being like, why do you have to have one thing that's peanuts in it? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, can we not figure this out? And they actually emailed me back, and they're like, actually, like, our CEO has this thing out, and it's basically like this letter saying, like, we know we've introduced a peanut butter flavor, but we want you all to be aware that we take a lot of precautions to clean, and like they do everything in an order of like least allergen to peanuts. So I use their products, and that's the only thing that may contains peanuts that I have on the regular basis because of
Okay.
that. Like they have like this little allergy thing on their website. But
Hmm.
in general, like finding like snacks that are like gym friendly snacks for me is like, I just eat some eggs before I go.
Oh, damn.
I'm like, that's the protein. Because it's like the protein that's so hard. Because everything like protein is like may contain everything
Yes.
in life.
Yes. Yes. And I when I went to the store, I don't know if you saw my website or not, but when I went to the store and I looked at all the protein bars on the shelf at the most, I guess like I said, HEB in Austin, there were about 247, and essentially all of them either had nuts or may contain. I mean, there's just
Yep.
no options. I know a
Yep.
couple people I've already interviewed have never even had a protein bar. They never even had one. They have to stay away. Um, and that's just a bummer to me. You know, it's just a shame that there's just no options. It seems so
Yeah.
obvious that there should be, but there's just not, right?
Yeah. It
Um,
just feels like such a missed mark. Like
so
there's so many, like it's like you have everything gluten free. Like, can we not,
mhm,
like it's so simple. It's like one ingredient. It's like literally one ingredient for
yeah,
half these companies and they'd be good. They'd like, and I don't think people realize how many of us, like how many people are out there with nut allergies.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not an uncommon thing, and it's becoming more and more common. Like it's like us that's but like, you know what, let them do their thing so you can flourish.
Yes. Now, do you have people in your personal community, friends, family members who also share a peanut allergy with you?
I should know this a lot better than I do. I have a few clients, ironically, who have peanut allergies, which I thought was very interesting because it was like, you know, I don't meet a ton of people with nut allergies. I know there's gonna be one friend who's like, me, and I'll be like, I'm sorry. But like, I think it's just like my life revolves around my gym a lot. So that's where my brain goes to.
Mhm.
But I had a couple of clients who have peanut allergies, and like, we're always just banding together, being like, look at these nerds eating peanut butter
Yeah.
protein bars. Don't they wish they could be on our level with our sad water and protein powder
And
mixture
eggs and
and
yeah,
eggs
pre-workout
and
eggs.
Greek yogurt and cottage cheese? Oh, it's so sad. I just want a protein bar, man. That's all I want.
We're coming.
It's not that
We're
hard.
trying. We're trying, Holly. I promise.
It'd be like your first like you're no out of country purchase. I'm like, when you see Canada on there, it's me. Just know it's
It's you.
me. It's me, 100%. I'll be there.
Yeah, and your clients, your super cool 3 to 5 peanut clients, because they're probably
No,
your
like
favorite, I assume. Yeah, they're
they we do have to band together. We have to be like, oh, I got you. But like seriously, I would put these in the gym. I would offer these for sale in the gym because like why would
oh
I offer something that I can't eat when I can offer something that we can all eat?
yeah. Well, I love
Makes
that.
perfect sense to me.
I might have to hold you to that when I release the bars.
Oh, I freaking will. You bet. I'll be there. I'm buying them.
So you've obviously had a lot of, how do I put this? You've had your fair share of experiences, and you've had to learn how to navigate your nut allergy, your peanut allergy.
Yes.
If someone came up to you and said, Holly, I just developed a peanut allergy, I'm scared out of my mind, what
Mm.
would you tell them?
I would say honestly, it's not that bad. It's not fun, but it's you could navigate it. Um, don't let people don't like I feel like some people like hide it. They're like, oh, like kind of I guess kind of like me at the gym, but it just like I say it when it's necessary, you know? Like I'm like just
Mhm.
own it, tell people because the last thing they want to do is like kill you. Okay? Like they don't want you to, you're good to express your feelings around your nut allergy. It's okay.
Mhm.
And also like, you know, I mean, some people in this community might even slap me for this, but like I firmly believe like not fearing going out for food. I know some people like will not go out anywhere to eat because of
Mhm.
fear of cross contamination, and I feel very confident. Like when I tell a restaurant that I have a nut allergy and that they're gonna like, you know, I think because allergies are becoming such a common thing, especially with gluten, right? Like, and I don't know why, but it seems gluten gets like a better like handling
Yeah.
prep than nuts. Like I'm like everything's gluten free, but like you
Mhm.
know, like I'm like, okay, come
Mhm.
on, that's
Yeah.
catch up. Like I feel like they're so most places are so well prepared to accommodate for like a nut allergy as well. But if they
Yeah.
don't feel if that restaurant's like, actually, like we'll probably walk out, walk out. If they don't feel confident telling you, don't be like me, just walk out. It's not worth it.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned the restaurants. Now, obviously, you're up north, right? You're in Canada, and
Mhm.
most of the people I've interviewed so far, aside from my very first, are in the States. Do you feel like there's better documentation and recognition of nut allergies in Canada, especially maybe in restaurants, or do you
Mm,
know for sure?
I don't know. I feel like every restaurant I go to, it's like they always have like a little thing. Like if it's a chain, they're like, "Oh, may contain," just so you know, it's not a nut-free facility. But it's very much
Hmm.
like I tell them, and they're like, "We'll do our best to accommodate." I've literally had to pull out the line of, "I'm not gonna sue you if I get a peanut. Like that's on me." Like I fully had to
Really?
say that to places before because they're like,
They
because I
freak
am the
out.
idiot who's like, yeah, whatever. I'm close to a hospital, it's fine. Um, I'm very willy-nilly. Some days I'm like super like, no, no, siree, don't come near me. And then other days I'm like, oh, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully there's nothing. But I find like when I go to the States, I feel like everything is just, I don't know. I feel like you guys have like more accommodations for stuff. And especially like
Oh,
just your labeling seems better to me.
oh, you think
I
so?
don't know. I think so, but like, and then again, it's probably like very similar. I don't know. Like, actually, the cool place that really had interesting like labeling is actually Japan. They had like, I mean, I
Oh,
had to like scan it with Google Translate, but they have like this very specific area that's like one out of, there has to say like how many out of like 30 allergens or whatever are maybe within this
hmm.
product. And they have to list them in like a whole separate area because what I find, what really irritates me is like, not to to jump this to something else, but just what really grinds my gears is the labeling of like the may contain at the bottom. One time I had this like, have you ever heard of moon cheese? It's like dried cheese in a bag.
No,
Like this really weird
no.
brand. I don't know. It's like Wisps, if you guys have Wisps anyway. And the may contain said nothing about peanuts, and I started eating them, looked at the back of the container, and in the ingredients it was like vegetable oil in brackets, not in the may
Oh,
contain this, but it was like making peanuts,
hmm.
canola, blah 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 oil, and I was like, what the hell? Anyway,
Hmm.
anyways,
That is
yeah,
weird.
I was like, what the hell? I like emailed the company. I went to the hospital. I didn't have a
Oh my
reaction,
gosh.
but I was just like, what the like? That's so. I'm like, that's not what I expected at all. So that company terrible for
No.
labeling, but you know.
They're on Holly's no-go list, sounds like.
Yeah, I sent them an email. They did not respond. So that's how that went.
Yeah, sternly worded email probably.
It was not a good email. It
Now,
was not very nice. I was like, this is stupid. Anyway.
now I know that at least growing up, I don't want to say that I was embarrassed by my nut allergy, but there was a
Mm,
level of there's just no reason for people to know because I have learned how to navigate it. I can take care of myself. I'm not going to tell people because now it's almost gone the opposite way in some settings where I tell people and it goes from 0 to 10. They freak out. I don't want to say overreact because they are trying to be accommodating, but it's like, whoa, like it's okay. Just don't sprinkle peanuts on top of my ice cream or whatever it is, right? Do you feel kind
yeah.
of the same way where you've learned to navigate it? You don't need to make a big deal, but here's the information, FYI.
Oh yeah, I've had some people who are just like my family members who I never go to their house, like they don't have peanuts in their house. They won't even have peanuts in their house. And I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
go to your house though. Like
Hmm.
you're okay. You can have
Yeah.
this. I feel like yeah, it's like very much the opposite. It's like you turn 18 and everyone's like freaking out rather than making fun of you. Fun fact, I used to have kids in public school. They'd like dance around a tree and chant peanut head at me. And I was like, if I can make it through that, I can make it through anything in
That
life.
might be
Like
the
I was like,
toughest
that's
test that I've heard.
brutal. Yeah, that and then another girl like threw a peanut at my face. I was like, what the heck, guys? Like grade
Oh my
nine.
gosh.
Grade nine and grade three, man. Not good years for me. Yeah, like people
I've
were just like it was wild. I was like,
That's
okay.
mean. That's
Oh
really
yeah.
mean.
It was that girl was she was real nasty. And then those kids also real nasty. Who the heck chances around a tree and chants peanut head? I'm like sitting there, I'm like
Poor Holly.
because I was the reason they put like no peanuts in the school. I was like the first kid that entered the school with like a severe enough allergy that they're like, okay, like we
Wow.
need to actually like. So I ruined it. I was the the ruiner, and in high school too. I actually like went to the principal's office and I was like, "There's a lot of peanuts in the lunchroom, and I don't like this." And he was like, good, we're getting rid of it. And then they like announced it over the loudspeaker, and I was like, can you not
Yeah.
do that?
Thanks to Holly, everyone. Thanks to Holly,
Yeah.
we are getting rid of peanuts.
Literally. Or like when you're on a plane and they're like, this, excuse me, there's an individual in this area of the plane. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, he has a really severe peanut allergy. Can you just like refrain from eating? And then they look at me and they go, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's not obvious now. I'm the problem. Thank you. Frig. Oh, that's the worst.
See, like that. Obviously, that is funny. Like that's funny in
Oh,
hindsight. But
that's
you're right. Like
hilarious. Yeah.
it feels awkward. Like you don't need to know that about me because now I
Yeah.
feel like everyone's looking at me. But it is kind of a weird balance where I want to take care of myself, but also please just live your own life. Don't worry about me. I'm strong enough.
Yeah.
It's a tough battle sometimes. I
It's a
don't
weird
particularly
battle.
ask it a lot. Yeah.
I
No.
I didn't until I was on a plane to Florida once, and the guy beside me, it was like a 5-hour delayed flight. The guy was like not happy. I wasn't either. No one was happy.
Mhm.
And they were offering nuts on the plane, and I went, oh shoot, I forgot to tell them that I have a nut allergy. And he opened it, and I elbowed him. It was like 2 a.m. I was like, hey buddy, I wouldn't eat those unless you want this plane to land because I'm gonna die real fast. And he was like, he I'm not good at delivering that type of news. He's just like so angry, like smashes them into his like little pocket in front of his seat. And then do I not have like nausea the whole time on the plane? I'm like shaking back and forth, like head between my legs, like ready to throw up. This poor man, like I literally apologized to him on the way out. I'm like, I'm sorry, I sucked so hard. Like, my bad. But he couldn't have his little package of like nuts, and he was so mad at me. And then I was like, I could die, and then we're gonna have to land this, and I don't want to do that.
Like unless you have an EpiPen in your pocket, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Unless you're ready to like take care of me, man. I don't know what you want, but yeah, I remember that so clearly because I was just like, it was like right at the beginning of the flight too. They like handed the nuts out, and I was like, I have 2 hours on this plane with this guy, and he hates me. And then it just got worse because I was just like, I don't know how I didn't throw up that whole flight. Like I was so close the whole time. But anyway, had to do it for my friend.
I remember one time I was on a school trip and we were flying to Washington D.C. and one of our teachers informed the not that we weren't on the plane yet, but we were about to board, and we told the attendant, desk attendant, whoever what their title is, that I have a nut allergy, and they took that not only to heart, but they let me pre-board first because
Ooh.
of just a nut allergy. I felt very
Oh
powerful that day.
man.
Did I feel
Wow.
like I deserved it? But no. But it was nice that people recognized it and tried to accommodate, even though it was unnecessary.
That's a
That was very
lot.
nice. Yeah. So
Take that as
the
a
guy,
win though. Holy shit. Yeah.
like the guy in your story, compared to the lady in my story, might be very different views on nut allergy,
Yeah.
nut allergies.
Yeah.
Well, that is funny. Well, we've been talking for about 30 minutes already. Now, I've asked
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of questions. Are there any other points that you want to talk about before we begin to sign off here? Because I very much enjoyed our conversations today. Very funny.
It's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it too. I feel like I got all my big points across. I'm just honestly so excited for you to come out and help us like protein nerds with getting our needs met.
Yeah.
I think that's like the coolest thing ever. And having this podcast, I was like, "What? This is crazy! Like, this is what I want! Like, just like a community of people who are like, oh my god, this has also happened to me."
Hmm.
But we sally forth, as they say.
That's right. We play the hand where cards were dealt with, right? Well,
Yep.
selfish
Yep.
question. Since you're in the fitness world, as I work to
Mm-hmm.
finalize the recipe, what would be kind of your ideal macros? Calorie count, protein count specifically.
Oh, um, I like a protein bar that has 20 grams or more of protein,
Okay.
preferably from a whey isolate source, not a
Hmm.
concentrate.
Okay.
I want the carbs. The carbs don't really matter too much to me, anywhere from like I would say 10 to 30 grams of carbs for the bar.
Okay.
And then, 8-ish grams of healthy fats would be great with ensuring that we're getting like a solid 5 grams of fiber, whatever that equals calorie wise. I think that'd be like 300 calories, somewhere around there.
Okay. Now,
500 maybe.
so what I've learned, now also my audience will be a lot of kids because
Yes.
parents will be buying for their children. And so
Yes.
I've heard that too much protein, obviously, like they can just have the bar,
Mm.
like if they
Mm-hmm.
want, they can split the
Mm-hmm.
bar up. So there is kind of a delicate balance of the audience that I'm serving. Now, my ideal protein bar, and let me know what you think, is a protein
Okay.
bar that has, I like to think of it as like a calorie to protein ratio where if you have 100 calories, I want 10 grams of protein or more. 200 calories, 20 grams of protein or more, right? A lot of protein
Yeah.
bars are kind of trending that direction, and a lot of current protein bars that are supposed nut-free protein bars have a very high calorie count, very low protein count. 260
Mm-hmm.
calories, 7 grams of protein. Like, is that really a protein bar? Not really, right? How do you
No.
kind of feel about that 10 to 1 calorie to protein ratio? Would that be something that would interest you generally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, like if I was having like, yeah, like 200 calories, 20 grams, like that's what
Yeah.
I'd be like, that's very on brand. You could even make them like half size. So you could have
Like kid
like just like
size?
a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. And a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think protein is like, protein gets like a weird rep. It's very important though. Most of us are not getting enough protein, not even remotely.
Yeah. Are you
Gotta get
a
it.
also side question because I've gone back and
Yes.
forth with people who have also in working out with me. If you're trying to gain muscle, I know we're deviating a
Oh,
little bit, but you're the first person I've talked to in the fitness world, so I have to ask.
okay.
Is
Okay.
should your protein content, should you be consuming grams of protein 1 to 1 to your total body weight or 1 to 1 to your lean muscle mass?
I say lean muscle mass,
Do
depending.
you? Okay.
Depending. Now, like it depends on your goals. What are your goals per
Right.
se?
Personally, me right now, I'm trying to cut. I've been cutting for the
Okay.
last 2 months, but
All
soon in the
right.
next 2 months or so, I will be kind of doing a clean bulk. But I want to make sure I'm getting
Mm,
enough protein because protein, I
mm-hmm.
can see you're interested in this
Mm,
conversation.
I
Getting,
am.
I don't know the threshold very well because I hear both sides where it should be your total. Like if I'm 200 pounds, theoretically, I'm not 200 pounds. But if I am 200 pounds, for example, should I be getting 200 grams of protein or like 130 grams because that's relatively my lean body, whatever it is, right?
I would say lean body. I would like, so when I work with women, I always say 125 grams of protein per day is kind of like the minimum I want to see my ladies that I'm training eat. With
Hmm.
men, I usually go like 160 and up.
Okay.
Now, if you're in a deficit right now, you might want to actually increase that number because your body's going to be struggling to get like enough like calories because you're not eating enough, right? So it might start stealing from that protein from your muscles, right? So actually
Mm,
increasing your muscle to like or protein intake to like 1.2 grams per like pound of lean body mass would actually be
mm,
beneficial. And when you're going into a bulk, you can actually take your protein down a little bit because you're getting enough
mm.
calories to feed your whole body. So there's like a bit of like room to play with. But in general, I usually give people like a minimum that I want them to hit because if we're going
Okay.
a little too high, it can mess with our body. It can also mess with our bowel movements, and those are important. So, but I would
So,
say like,
okay,
lean
I'm
body
gonna tell you,
mass.
I'm gonna tell you my numbers just because I'm curious. So I'm a
Okay.
pretty big guy. I'm like 6'7", 255 right now.
Holy. Oh my God.
How many
Six,
grams of
seven?
protein should? Yeah, yeah. Um,
255. Okay.
so how many? If anyone's watching this long, congrats. You know how much I weigh. So how many? If I want to, I'm cutting right now, but let's just say in a month or so, I want to start clean bulking. How many grams of protein do you think
Mm-hmm.
I should be consuming?
Right now, and then into the clean bulk, I'll give you numbers for both.
Assume not the cut, just the bulk.
Just the bulk. Mm.
I think I have like
So you could get,
24 body fat percentage, I want to say.
okay, I think you could get away with like anywhere from like 180 to 210
And anything
grams of
above that would be
protein.
too much, you think?
I think it'd be too much if you're going into a bulk and you're getting all this other calories in. I feel like you would just be kind of like, I mean, I always look at eating protein as like a financial undertaking.
It is
Like,
very expensive.
probably not necessary, right? Have you ever watched anything Jeff Nippard? You
I
should
do
watch
know
his
who
stuff.
that is. Yes, I do know who that
Watch his
is.
stuff.
Short guy.
But
Short
yeah,
guy, right?
like yeah, he's a short king. Yep, yep. But yeah, I would say anywhere like one like for a clean bulk done well, like anywhere from like 180 to like 210, maybe 220. Like I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't say you need to like I know dudes who are like 350, and I'm like, calm down. Like, what are you doing? Are you even going to the bathroom? Like, are you releasing bricks? What's going on? Like, chill out. Like, protein's important, but we have to remember that like our body has to process that protein, and there's parts of our bodies that have a hard time processing that much protein. I would love if someone comes to you and like says like this girl's dumb, send them to me. I will personally argue with them online. I do not mind. Come after me. Let's talk about it. fit.with.holly.a. Talk.
You heard it here, folks. She's ready to square up if someone disagrees
I'm
with her.
ready to. I love fighting with the trolls online. Not saying anyone's a troll here, but protein,
Well, I might have to reach out to you for advice when it comes to the time where I start bulking, because my cutting, I'm always hungry, to be honest. I'm always hungry.
Well, yeah, you are in a deficit. That makes sense. What are your deficit calories right now?
Right now, I'm going for 2450. But
Okay.
I've heard I've learned that I've heard the camp more recently of total body weight. So actually, I'm going for like 245 grams of protein right now in the cut. And after our conversation, I wonder if that's a bit. Now, I don't have digestive issues, what you were referencing.
No, I mean, like, that's fine. It's like, that's like, how many grams of carbs and fat are you having then?
I don't track that. I don't track that.
Well, there we go. All right, cool. Well, as long as you're getting enough fiber, you're meeting your micronutrient goals, and you feel good, there's no real issue. I would say, like we did talk, like, you would want more protein when you're in a deficit to make up for that lack of calories your body is getting energy from. Yeah. So yeah, that would make sense that you could probably even go a little higher. I mean, that seems insane to me because I would like I don't think there'll ever be a time when I need 245 grams of protein, but if there is, I must be freaking yoked,
tough to get
man.
There.
I would assume like that's a lot of protein powders. Like, holy crap. Like, holy smokes. Good thing you live in Texas, right? You can go get this good barbecue, I would assume, right?
A lot of meat options.
I would say I'm like, am I assuming too far? But like, I feel like all the best barbecues there.
In Texas. Yes, there is.
Well, there you go. So you're at least in the right place to get enough protein. But yeah, you should understand like where your like carbs and your fats are. Just like a little bit. Have some understanding. That is a lot of work. That's fair. Not everyone's
right.
built for that level of trekking. Some days I'm like, why do I do this? This is crazy. Oh, that's my boyfriend.
Hi, boyfriend. Well, anyway, Holly. Well, I might personally message you for fitness advice. Anyone's watching,
heck yeah,
would love to give you fitness advice. But Holly, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you today. If anyone watching has any questions for Holly, can you shamelessly plug yourself on social media and your website?
Yep. Okay. So at fit.with.holly.a is Instagram. Do not reach out to me on Facebook. I do not check that. You can follow my gym account at the Fit Collective Belleville. And you can message me either place. If you're ever in Belleville, come to my gym. It's pretty sick. We have a dog. She's cute. And don't come to my website because it's also not good and I don't check it.
So the best way to reach you is maybe
Instagram.
In this comment section or Instagram.
Yep, that's it right there.
Okay. Well, Holly, again, thank you so much for the conversation today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.